Oh God, we're doing a podcast.
What is it now, Karen? Episode 7.
Episode 7, I'm in Heaven. Or Magnificent 7. We should get some Magnificent 7 music playing.
Episode 7.
Oh, is he still alive?
I don't know.
Len from Strictly. How you been? It's been 2 weeks. It's been a fortnight.
I know I've missed it because you've not let me speak to you because you've just said save it for the podcast. I'm not even allowed to speak to you in private.
This should be our only channel of communication, Beth. I don't want to speak to me outside of this. It's a strictly professional relationship.
Mm.
So it's a doubler this week then, in a sense, because we've got twice as much to talk about.
Lucky listeners.
Okay, listeners. It's been 90 minutes of drivel instead of 45.
Yeah.
You were one of the things that you were saying. I told you weren't allowed to talk to me about was an instance where you've actually been a Karen in the past fortnight.
Well, if you'd let me talk to you, I was going to tell you that I nearly was. Basically, I just had to send a plate of food back at a restaurant. I was mortified. I couldn't even look them in the eye. I was so embarrassed. But the food was so bad and everyone around me had really nice meals and mine was so bad and I couldn't even eat it either, and I'm not even fussy.
Oh my God, right, tell us more.
Well, we have some very bad luck with macaroni cheese and What Is It Now, Karen podcast because it was macaroni cheese. And you know how it usually comes in like a little individual dish?
Mm.
And it's this one, so it came in an individual dish, but it never had any like cheese on top.
Ah.
So it was just the macaroni in the dish, and it was a very pale colour. And it was almost like, well, it wasn't even like pasta and sauce, because I quite like pasta and sauce, like, you know, at the packet.
Oh my God, right, okay.
It was awful. And everyone around me has like nice fish and chips, someone's got a curry, burger, and I've got this little pathetic bowl of baby food.
And the real kicker is it's the same place that one of our other listeners had to experience.
I should have known. I didn't.
You were forewarned.
I didn't think.
So how did the return of the food go down? What tell us about that interaction?
I think she came over because I think she was just giving over like the last plate of food down, and I just sort of sheepishly said, without really making much eye contact, I'm really sorry. It's just not very nice. It was just all very awkward and would not recommend. So I wouldn't say that was a Karen because I felt really embarrassed about it.
Oh, maybe enough. The opposite,
but you shouldn't really feel embarrassed about it because
you're paying for it, I guess.
Yeah.
But I sound like a Karen.
Yes, your rights. Know your rights.
Know your rights. But then you have a kind of track record sometimes with stuff especially when it comes to food. We're coming up to almost a year ago. You inadvertently or accidentally ordered like 48 pieces of sushi in a Swedish sushi restaurant.
That was so stressful.
Remember, I think you actually cried as well.
I think I did eat all 40 pieces of sushi though.
Oh my God.
Over the course of like the evening.
So much raw fish.
No.
That was a good laugh. Good memories.
Good times.
Good times. Oh well, how have you been otherwise? How's your mood?
Over it.
Over it, yeah, because we're now like back into like another lockdown, aren't we?
Yep.
Thankfully, I don't think we're going to talk about COVID tonight.
No. Hopefully. I'm sure it'll creep in.
Obviously it will, but it's not going to be the main event.
No, I am over it.
So we've had a submission, some fan work, fan art. It's not really art per se, but it's music.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so listen to this.
Oh God, is in a podcast?
First time of the weekday.
What do you make of that?
Speechless.
In a good way or a bad way?
It's yeah, speechless.
It's essentially, that one's essentially a cover of our theme music.
Yeah. Very it kind of gave me Crazy Frog vibes.
It did a bit. It was a bit very, very like heavy synth into it. Like,
Yeah.
so thanks for sending those in. You know who you are. And we'll think about it.
Yeah.
If we think about changing our theme tune, we'll maybe need something a bit more
Lighthearted.
upbeat. Yeah, lighthearted. But I appreciate the effort that's gone into that. That's very, very
It's an effort.
Yeah. So shall we delve deep into this week's? You go first this week.
Okay. So mine this week I think is a topic we've not covered before. At least I don't think so anyway. It's a comment under a Tasty video. So,
All right, okay.
so
Interesting.
Tasty is in like the Facebook page that share recipes and cookery videos, that sort of thing.
So it's, yeah, but we haven't really talked about food related Karens is an interesting topic to me.
Okay, so this particular comment I'm looking at was under a recipe for a pasta dish.
Love it. Love pasta.
Yeah. Now, what's controversial about pasta, you might be wondering? Pasta caused so much controversy that Karens come out of their SUVs ready to pounce and call the authorities. What's getting Karen so mad about pasta?
I've had to guess. I don't know what could rile somebody up about pasta. Pasta's so innocuous. It's literally just like water and flour. I don't know. I feel like would it be like too traditional or something? You see a lot of tasty videos that are like chicken fajita lasagna and all this kind of mental stuff.
Okay, so and even under this post, there was a lot of comments that I could choose from because a lot of people were angry about this.
What the hell?
Pasta recipe. I just picked one of the first ones that I saw. So the controversial thing about this particular pasta recipe was that it allegedly came from Meghan Markle, aka Duchess of Sussex. So I'll read out the comment.
Well, what was the pasta recipe? What was it? What's in it?
Zucchini. So it was like a vegetarian, slow cooked zucchini. So it was like a bolognese type pasta.
It's quite nice actually.
Yeah, it did.
Courgette, as we say in the real world.
Yeah, courgette. It's just because on the post they call it zucchini. Anyway, so this is a comment from Selma. So bear in mind, this article is just sharing that Meghan Markle shared this pasta recipe. There's nothing particularly about Meghan Markle in the article. It's just about this pasta recipe. But Selma's commented, "She isn't royal and never will be. She nearly stripped her royal husband from his titles. She's not royal. She's a joke. And then from what I've realised recently, a Karen favourite, she puts in ellipses, ... And this looks nothing like a bolognese. Bolognese has a tomato sauce as a base. Come on.
Oh my God.
There was so many comments like this, you won't believe, under a recipe for a pasta video. But Meghan Markle has that effect on people.
That was so venomous. Like, she was like, she's not a royal, she never will be, and plus, that's not even a bolognese. Oh my God. Selma, chill out, man. Chill out.
Chill out. It's okay.
You really got to really dislike somebody to be that moved to leave a comment like that on a pasta video.
And I could understand if it was quite these kind of articles that are very, Meghan and Harry doing this or doing that, or they're going to America, they're doing their Netflix deal, more kind of controversial articles where they're maybe doing something that you might not agree with, or the way they're leaving the UK and all that sort of stuff. But it's literally a recipe for pasta. But we know from our Karen poem that neglect reason.
Neglect reason.
Know your rights, accuse everyone, request a manager, escalate the authorities, neglect reason. The one thing I did want to touch on is the comment in particular where she says she's stripping her husband from his titles. Now, why does everyone assume that when a man, makes a decision, it's always kind of his wife in the background pulling the strings, and he's being manipulated, and when actually it could just be they love each other, it's his wife, they've made the decision together, but it's always, particularly when it's quite a high profile couple anyway, it's always that it's, the wife in the background meddling and stealing Harry away from his family. And
first of all, like, I have to, cards on the table, I really couldn't give two shakes about Meghan and Harry or any royal. Like, I seriously do not care. Like, I just don't care. As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't exist in the first place. But anyway, but I think there's a lot of stuff in media about Meghan Markle, and she's always painted to be this kind of like conniving, sinister kind of force in the shadows, like manipulating things and taking Harry away from his granny and his brother. No, like, honestly, who cares? Who cares? It's just a couple of stupid rich people who should be abolished, and all of their wealth should be redistributed.
I agree, but that's not the position we're in, so...
So shut up and start talking about Meghan.
Pretty much. I hate to say it, but I have noticed that a lot of the criticism for Meghan Markle usually starts with... And it's got nothing to do with the fact that she's black. It's got nothing to do with that. And you're sort of sitting there going, nobody said anything. Like,
nobody said it was, but now that you've brought that up yourself, it's a bit suspicious.
Yeah, it's a bit the lady doth protest too much.
Yeah, that she does, and it's like in the papers as well. It's like always a bit like venomous, isn't it? And that is definitely to do with the fact that she's mixed race. It's 100%.
Yeah, well, the comparison with Kate, and there was bad press written about her, paparazzi following her, all that. But I think it's hard to compare the two. It's Princess Kate, and she's can do no wrong, and compared with Meghan Markle,
she does always get referred to in the media as Meghan Markle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, do you know what it really annoys me? Do you know what I hate, actually? Royal correspondents. I think they're very odd people. Like, why are you so invested in this royal family? Like, it's like weird. Do you know, like, what's his name on the BBC, Nicholas Witchell or something like that? And he like always talks as if he's like privy and like part of the family and all. And he always refers to what's her name? Is it Kate Middleton? Middleton. Always refers to as Catherine. It's like, shut up and get a life. Like, did you honestly go to uni and do like journalism to come and just soak up some rich German family? Do you know what I mean though?
Yeah.
It's like, so she's always given like this name like Catherine, not even like Kate, Catherine, or the Duchess of wherever the hell she is. But then it's always like Meghan Markle. And don't get me wrong, as I said before, I really don't care, and I don't have any investment at all in this situation. But I think it is quite telling. That
It's the difference between the two. And I guess also she is American as well, which I think people, Union Jack waving types, aren't too happy that I guess she's American either. But I read a really interesting article. I wish I could remember where it was, but it was like a comparison of headlines, and one of them was like pregnant Catherine eats avocado during pregnancy cravings. And then the other one was Meghan Markle eating avocado, and then went into all like how avocados are bad for the environment and how dreadful it is to eat avocados.
I remember that. I've seen
like
that as well.
Farming and everything, and you're like,
one's like Kate Middleton nourishes unborn child with nutrient-rich avocado, and then the other one's like Meghan Markle feeds into cycle of death and destruction by eating cash crop avocado.
Yep.
Honest to God. And then people do read that and just like accept it. It's so weird. And it's like, do people not have any kind of critical thinking faculty in your brain where you can actually look at something and say, that's a bit of a disparity, or that's a bit unjustified? No? Okay.
I think to an extent, yes, but I think when you're reading or watching an apparent trusted source, whether that's a newspaper or TV station, people have busy lives. You read something, you kind of just, you don't really necessarily have time to make those connections. Am I making sense?
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to have time to know that something is just like so targeted and so like vitriolic. Do you know what I mean?
I don't know, but a lot of the time it's not as obvious as that. Sometimes it's a bit more subtle. Like you said, the subtlety of she's always Meghan Markle and not Catherine, Duchess of Cornwall? Cambridge?
One's Cambridge, one's Cornwall. I really just couldn't honestly care less.
Right, you've said that.
Get them out! Is that treason? Is it treason to want to abolish the monarchy?
No, I don't think so.
I think, anyway, doesn't matter. All I was going to say there was, I think they should go, but I've literally said that 10 times.
Yeah, broken record.
What do you think will happen though when Busy Lizzie dies? I think actually if it happens during this pandemic, I actually think there'll be like mass hysteria. Yeah,
imagine I don't want to wish it on anyone, but imagine she caught COVID. Died.
Oh, she won't. No, she's in her big golden castle. Now that is treason, I think, imagining the Queen dying.
No, you're not allowed to think things.
No, you're not. Like, I looked it up because like last week when we were talking about that group chat message about the rumour that the Queen had died, I looked up and there's like treason is like compassing the death of the sovereign or something like that, and I was like, what the hell does compassing mean? But apparently it means like wishing or thinking or like talking about like a hypothetical where the monarch is dead or something like that.
I feel like that can't stand up in court. It's like
you're going to get beheaded.
Were you thinking about the Queen dying? I'm like, no. You get Darren Brown in to read your mind.
Well, they would just decide, wouldn't they? Instead of like you were thinking that.
She's so aware.
Off with her head.
Okay, let's get back to Selma.
Selma, sorry. Let's talk about the structure of her comment. I think she had some short, sharp sentences in there, didn't she?
Yeah, we like that.
We enjoy those ones.
Yep, she isn't royal and never will be. She nearly stripped her royal husband from his titles. She's not royal. She's a joke. ...
She's a joke. And the irony being that Selma here is the joke, like commenting this on a tasting video, do you know what I mean?
But I like that she's also got a little dig in about her bolognese recipe as well. And this looks nothing like a bolognese. Bolognese has a tomato sauce as a base. ... again. Come on.
Oh. You're not a royal, and by the way, your pasta sucks. She said she's not a royal twice. Like, she's like, that's somebody who's just like frantic. Like, just calm down.
Just like our COVID and masks, this is Meghan Markle's gets the Karens riled up. I think a lot of people see Harry as, you know, when Diana died, and Harry was always the kind of cheeky chappy.
The cheeky chappy that dressed up like a Nazi.
Yeah, that one. And was not playing like strip poker in Las Vegas as well. But anyway, the cheeky chappy. You know, a lot of people still kind of see him. And I would say I've got, and I'm not a royalist. I'm very indifferent about the royal family. But
So choose the next word carefully.
I would say if I had to like pick a favourite, it would be Harry.
Only because he's the only one that looks vaguely human and has a head of hair.
Yeah, exactly. So he's my favourite.
I can't believe I'm hearing this.
If you had to pick a favourite, who would yours be? Harry?
No, honestly, I would rather be Gilligan.
Pick a favourite you have to pick.
No, I don't.
No, you have to pick.
Well, it wouldn't be Prince Andrew anyway, that's for sure.
Well, no. Well, that's another thing. So people are getting really annoyed about Meghan Markle. Well, Prince Andrew, who is, I'm picking my words carefully here, allegedly, all that, a paedophile.
Got somebody like that cutting about.
At the very minimum, he was friends with a paedophile.
And knew about it and didn't do anything about it.
Yeah, and he's not cooperating either. So that's at the very minimum. That's if all the other stuff he's been accused of, even if he didn't do that, at the very least, he was friends with a predator, and he's now not cooperating with investigations.
Was that? But I guess you can't say that's obstructing. What do you call that? Preventing the course of justice, because that's a crime and he hasn't been convicted of that. But he'll never be convicted. Like, these people are above reproach. That's the thing. So that's why, like, you know, as we said, like, Prince Harry can dress up like a Nazi and nothing really happens. This Prince Andrew can allegedly be this and nothing happens.
I don't think you can compare dressing up.
No. I know, but I'm saying, like, they're like beyond reproach, which is just bizarre to me. But anyway, if I had to pick a royal, I would not.
Well, yeah, the Prince Andrew thing is interesting to look at, because here you've got Meghan Markle sharing a recipe for a pasta. I don't even think she shared it. Someone's just, I don't know where they've got this alleged that this is her recipe.
A source claimed that Meghan loves zucchini.
And people are getting angry over it, whereas the same can't be said. Don't get me wrong, there's complete outrage, but it seems on a much smaller level than the outrage that Meghan Markle and Harry are receiving for moving country and, you know, what, like, taking a step back from royal duties.
Exactly. So it's weird though, isn't it? Because they were like, she was vilified for whatever reason. Well, we can guess what reason. And then when they unsurprisingly decided, well, actually, we don't want to be royals anymore, we're going to take a step back, they got vilified even more. It's like, well, what do you expect? You've literally driven someone out of the country and now you're still moaning. Pathetic. If you were a royal for a day, what would you do?
Oh.
Queen for a day.
Queen for the day? Like, I don't know. I don't think I fancy doing all the, I say, like, work and event in, like, inverted commas, like when they have to go to, like, an open shopping centres and stuff. I wouldn't be arsed about doing any of that. But what else do they do exciting? Go to parties, galas.
Breed corgis, hunt foxes,
Not into any of that.
hunt servants.
Maybe I'd quite like a servant.
Would you? I would feel quite guilty about having a servant.
If it was just for a day, I think I'd be fine.
Ah well, Meghan Markle. I've never even, do you know, what was she in again that made her famous? Suits. Or what is that about? Lawyers or accountants?
Oh, I'm not sure. I never watched it. Well, it's
Probably
nice to say neither of us are fans, but I think if Joseph was being honest, Harry and Meghan are the most favourite royals.
Shut up. Put words in my mouth.
Well, before smoke starts coming out your ears and before we get done for treason, we'll move on from the royal family. More specifically, Meghan Markle. What are you bringing to the table this week?
This week I'm bringing somebody who's just like really annoying.
Hate that.
Just really annoys me. Just like, just shut it. Kind of well-known numpty Laurence Fox, who allegedly is an actor as well. I'd literally never heard of him before until he went on Question Time and was just being like ridiculous. I can't remember what it like the initial controversy was. I think he was just on saying like it was back in January. I think he was saying like he was on Question Time saying it was racist to say that he had white privilege. So he's one of these ones.
Yeah, I think he's of the kind of Katie Hopkins generation. It's just he just says controversial things for the sake of it. He's really slipped under my radar. I hadn't really heard of him until more recently. Apparently he was married to Billie Piper.
Rose from Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Love that. So that was a great era for Doctor Who. David Tennant and Billie Piper.
She's a really good actress. I really like Billie Piper.
God, poor her being married to him.
I know, it seems odd because I think she's very left-leaning liberal.
Well, he, interestingly, on his Twitter, he describes himself as a fierce liberal. But I think he means it in like the true sense of liberal, where you like don't...
no government and...
Yeah, exactly. Like free market, total freedom of speech. Like you can say anything, do anything, that kind of liberal, which is just daft in my book. Interestingly, though, like to go for his like original brush with controversy was actually related to Meghan Markle.
Oh, really?
Apparently, they were on Question Time. They were talking about like the racism towards her, and this article here was like, he was bored with talk about racism towards the Duchess of Sussex and shutting down claims he couldn't recognise it because of his own position. So that was it. Somebody was trying to say, I was like, well, you can't actually say that that's not racism because you are a white man and you've got white privilege. And then he said, that's racist to say that I've got white privilege. It's racist to say I can't talk about this because I'm white. So, well, it's not racism because it's not like systematic, like oppression and suppression and exploitation. Somebody's just telling you to shut up because you don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. So that was when he first came into the limelight as being a bit of a numpty. And then, very recently, Sainsburys, God, we're getting convoluted here from bloody Meghan Markle to Sainsburys. Sainsburys supermarket had put up a thing about Black History Month, which is of the month of October. And they had said, we're proud to celebrate it, and so on and so forth. Laurence Fox had retweeted it and said, "Dear Sainsburys," now this is classic Karen language here. "Dear Sainsbury's, I won't be shopping in your supermarket ever again. Whilst you promote racial segregation and discrimination, I sincerely hope others join me. Retweet. #boycott Sainsburys. I won't be shopping." That's the equivalent of "I won't be back."
I won't be back.
Will not return. So
so he's not happy. I'm confused about what he's angry about.
He's angry that Sainsbury's had put up a post saying we're proud to celebrate Black History Month. He said, "I won't shop there while you promote racial segregation and discrimination."
I'm guessing he thinks that supporting Black History Month is racism against white people.
I think he does. I think he's going to be one of these people that wants like a White History Month, which just sounds like
All lives matter.
but like to say like White History Month also sounds like saying like white power. Do you know what I mean? Like if you say Black power, that's like empowerment of a marginalized group. If you say white power, that's like really disturbing and white premises. So is like White History Month. So he said that, and then there was a couple of people that retweeted him, and he just like called them pedos, just like in reply, just like pedo, shut it, pedo, and all that kind of stuff. And then now they're suing him.
Well, that's
One of them
that's
is
like
I think
a
one's a
classic,
director.
because clearly he doesn't have any argument to fall back on. So you just switch straight to insults when you don't have any, if you don't have a leg to stand on, which clearly he doesn't.
Yeah, so somebody from Drag Race UK called Crystal is suing Laurence Fox for homophobic defamation. So the Crystal criticised them for it, and he replied, I'm sure he just like said like pedo or something, but I can't actually find the tweet now. Oh, that was it. So it was also, he called two people pedos. He called the person from Drag Race a pedo, I'm sure, and then also, or I don't know what he actually called her, but the CEO of Stonewall charity, he also called him a paedophile after he criticised him.
Is that just like does he know what that means? Is that just like his go-to insult? Very bizarre.
Oh, that was it. He said pretty rich coming from a paedophile, just out of nowhere.
I think though, like I said earlier, it's a worry about this kind of, since Katie Hopkins' kind of rise to fame or infamy or whatever you want to call it, there is this kind of surge in people saying, controversial things for the sake of it, to get a rise out of people and to build up their own personal profile. Katie Hopkins made a career out of it and doing PAs at different places and being dragged into universities to do all these debates and made a fortune out of being controversial for controversial sake. There was a lot of talk that I think her views were quite reasonable, but she just really amped it up for her, her personal views were pretty reasonable. I think she was always kind of right-leaning, but she really, when she realised if she said a few controversial things, that gained more traction.
So Laurence Fox, don't really know who he is, sprung to prominence for being a bit of a dafty, is now like after Sainsburys, saying that there's racial segregation to celebrate Black History Month. I think the point of Black History Month is that it's like equal, like you're talking about equality, like you're raising Black history up to be on a par with like usual history and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, and you would like to hope that one day we get to the point where history is just history, but we're not there yet. There's a lot of big events in history where Black people are just told, they're not included in that, and that's not because they weren't a part of it, it's just because their stories aren't being told, and that's why we need things like Black History Month. But the all lives matter sort of thing is very Karen. It's very just ignorant and not really. He's got
another tweet here that I've just seen as I scroll through. It's quite worrying actually, and like as we just said, like he describes himself as a fierce liberal, so I presume this is in that kind of vein. But he said the only way to deal with vile Holocaust denial is to allow them to state their case and be challenged. If you push the problem underground, you give these liars fuel. More speech, better arguments, more truth. We are smarter than this. Entirely disagree with that. If you let, he's trying to. So that's like him being like, people should be allowed to say what they want, but then you just have to reason with them and argue with them. But the point is, like, if somebody's daft enough to deny the Holocaust, what makes you think you're going to be able to reason with them? So like he's advocating for them to get some airtime, which is just ridiculous because that legitimizes stuff if you put it out in the mainstream and you let it be discussed as if it's like an acceptable debate. We've talked about this before, how like you present like issues that are clearly one-sided things as like a debate to be had. So he's now trying to say that like we should debate about Holocaust denial. No, we shouldn't. You just need to shut these people up. I'm sure you can actually be arrested for that, Holocaust denial. In some countries, I'm sure it's like a crime.
Yeah, I would say there's very few things where there isn't two sides to every argument, or where, free speech should be denied, But when we're looking at things like denying the Holocaust and conspiracy theories, then
Yeah. So I think he's also got a political party called Reclaim,
nice.
and that's his banner on his Twitter. So Reclaim, Reason, Reform, Progress, or Progress, depending on the emphasis you put on it.
Political parties love a sort of 3-word slogan. Take back control, that reclaim, reform,
Progress.
whatever. It's almost like someone's told them that the whole 3-word thing works, but see if it doesn't make any sense. It only works if it makes sense.
Yeah, but I think that's like a psychology thing, isn't it? Because it's like if something's catchy and it's 3 words long, it's like got
Yeah,
good
but it's
business.
all, like it's psychological if it not just
But
3
Lady Gaga-
random words. That's not psychological going to sink in or be catchy. It needs to actually have some substance.
True. My favourite 3-letter one is Lady Gaga when she goes, "Rain on me."
That should have been a slogan.
I'd rather be dry, but at least I'm alive. Oh well, I guess so. He's calling for a boycott of Sainsbury's entirely.
I quite like Sainsburys.
Well, I was going to say we can rank the supermarkets in a second, but he's because he's that hashtag boycott Sainsbury's. He was like trying to start that, try to get it going, because he'd like taken a new line in his tweet and hashtagged it boycott Sainsbury's over Black History Month. Like what is going on? What is going through his mind? Does he not realise that he's obviously going to be accused of racism if he's anti-Black History Month? Like I don't anyway.
But it's not even like Sainsbury's have done anything that you could even consider, that it's controversial in any way. They've not come out and said, right, we are now only employing Black people, or we are now only, nothing that they've said in the original tweet is controversial in any way.
Yeah, but then see to be fair though, I do also take, well, I don't take issue, but it's like I've heard the phrase before, like woke capitalism. So like a brand will come out and be like say something like that, like Black History Month, we're proud to celebrate Black History Month, and fair enough, like give it some exposure. It's good to see it in the mainstream, but realistically, Sainsbury's are only doing that for, I mean, I'm just being very cynical here, but like are only doing that for like a bit of positive PR, a bit of positive press, and ultimately to get more people into their shop to buy their stuff.
Yeah, we've kind of touched on that before, of where, like, I think the last time we spoke about it was like football teams putting like the LGBT flag. That's all well and good, but what are you actually doing behind the scenes to support LGBT communities, to support the BAME communities? Like, put your money where your mouth is. Don't just do it for a nice bit of brand exposure. Actually get involved in your communities and put your hands in your pockets.
Put your money where your mouth is.
Exactly.
Because that actually reminds me of another. Do you remember? It was probably like a couple of years ago. M&S around Pride Month came out with a sandwich called an LGBT.
Yeah.
LG. So it's like lettuce, guacamole, bacon, and tomato.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, shut up! Like, come on, like. Again, like just make a donation or something. I don't know. Maybe
I think they did with the sandwiches, so that's
sandwich profits.
clever, I think.
I don't know.
Supermarkets ranked best to worst, not based on their affiliations or associations with LGBT or
purely on
Black
experience.
History Month, purely on experience. Yeah.
Right.
We'll start with worst to best, or
worst to best, right? Okay, so the bottom of the pile has got to be Morrison's.
Disagree.
No, it has to be Morrison's.
Have you been to the salad bar?
No.
The salad bar experience alone means that Morrison's cannot be the worst.
Shut up. Right. So I don't think there is a salad bar in the one near me.
It must be quite a small one then.
Salad bar?
Oh, it's so good. It's like you get like a little box.
Uh-huh.
So almost like pick and mix, and then I've not been since COVID, so I it's maybe not, but it's like a pick and mix for salads, and you can put as much in this box as you want.
But that's not new because Pizza Hut have been doing that for years. So that doesn't interest me.
But this is a supermarket, not Pizza Hut. Right, continue.
So don't like Morrison's, don't like the shopping experience, don't like the products. I don't know, I just think it's crap. And then I would have to say next would be Sainsburys, overpriced. Stephen Fry once said he likes Sainsburys because it keeps the scum out of Waitrose.
That'll be why it suits me then. I don't think I've ever been.
I have once, but it's one and only time, and I was shocked at how expensive it was. I couldn't believe it. They have speaking of salad bars, they have a sushi bar with 2 sushi chefs at it. You go and get fresh made sushi.
That's the dream.
It's what do you call that? Repugnant. Vulgar. It's vulgar to have that kind of wealth. So for me, Morrison's and Sainsbury's, then Aldi, because I don't really rate it compared to Lidl, and then Asda, then Tesco, I must admit, but that's probably just for like habit and nostalgia, because that's just
overpriced.
Like. Oh well, actually no, that's true. I've maybe put them the wrong way around. Asda's a bit cheaper. Okay, we'll go Tesco and then Asda, and then top of the pile has to be Lidl. Has to be Lidl. In every way, it's superior.
Do you know, I have a new favourite that you've not mentioned.
What?
Food Warehouse.
Food Warehouse, interesting.
It's like an Iceland, Aldi, Asda hybrid.
Okay. No, to be fair, I have been in Food Warehouse.
Basically all the trash.
So is it all frozen stuff, or is it just
no, frozen, fresh, all your cans, all your everything, everything you could want and more.
Your cans.
Cans.
You could be a market trader. Frozen fresh cans, frozen peas, fresh peas, and canned peas.
That's it.
What about your rankings? Let's hear it.
I'd say worst, Tesco.
Oh, that's a really bold claim. Why? Too expensive?
Too expensive, not much selection, no salad bar.
You can't rate everyone based on the fact they've got a salad bar. That's not fair.
Then it would be Asda.
Okay, so the 2 big boys at the bottom of the pile.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would then say Aldi, M&S Food Warehouse.
M&S, look at you. Well seen, you're a young professional with no kids. M&S is your second top supermarket.
Yeah.
I'm shocked. Turn that bloody phone off. I'm going to reach through the screen and throttle you. Anyway, you're obviously doing well for yourself if Marks and Sparks is your second top supermarket.
Yeah, no kids yet, but remember, I've got a liberal womb, so...
Oh yes, so you do.
Be fine for a while yet.
What was your top supermarket again there? Food Warehouse?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
So that's quite scummy, so that balances out the M&S.
So the Lidl, I can't talk about how much I love it enough. I've got a Lidl Plus card and everything.
Maybe we could get a sponsorship on the go. If anyone from any of these stores are listening, we probably won't get it from Morrison's thanks to you. But is it time to vote?
Yeah, I think it is.
We've spoken enough.
The panel has spoken. Okay, so we've got 2 really strong contenders.
Yeah.
I think we'll just start with Laurence Fox because I'm already talking.
Aye, okay.
He's been intolerant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, or he's trying to frame himself as so tolerant that he's intolerant, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So he's also been very classic, very stereotypical Karen by saying, I won't be shopping there.
Yep.
So that's why I think he's a strong contender. Intolerant, and he's used a buzzword.
He doesn't like Black History Month because it's not about him.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting.
Yeah. Whereas we look at Selma, who is very riled up at the Meghan Markle pasta recipe. Which to me is very Karen because it's just so over the top that a pasta recipe would garner such a reaction. You know,
she's merited it so important to like comment.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
calling her a joke, stripping your royal husband from his titles. She isn't royal and never will be. He's a joke. It's a very over the top reaction for me that is kind of peak Karen.
Yeah, this is a tough one this week, actually.
Yeah.
I'm actually really conflicted. I really need to think about this one.
Okay.
I think I'm going to vote for Selma.
Selma, I'm thinking the same because it's just the overreaction.
Yeah, neglect reason.
Neglect reason. Accuse everyone.
And it's just, I'm really getting into these guys' sentence structure now. I am loving it. I feel like I stand a good.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
There's just, I love that they include so much. Just in like kind of one little comment, there she's talking about stripping husband from royal titles. She'll never be a royal. Looks nothing like a bolognese. This is in a 3-line comment. There's so much in there. So much anger, so much hatred.
It never ceases to amaze me the linguistic capabilities of these people. It just stuns me. The ellipses as well, and just like they're not even. It's almost like sometimes I think these aren't even like. That's not even a throwaway comment. She has been like, she's not a royal, she's a joke. And by the way, you're past this shit. So I mean, like, she's really like metered that out in her head. She's got a list of bullet points and she has hit every single one.
And like we kind of briefly touched upon, we don't want to say too much, but when you've got royals who are associated with paedophiles and sexual predators, not getting this same reaction to a woman who's sharing a pasta recipe. We have problems.
It makes you want to just put your head in your hands and just weep.
Well, Selma, congratulations.
I'm proud to present you with this zucchini, Selma, as a token of our gratitude for making us laugh.
Oh no, don't, because she doesn't like that bolognese.
Oh, well, she can do something else, so I don't care.
Come on.
Come on!
Did I win?
Yeah, you won. Congrats. 4-3.
Said through gritted teeth. Congrats.
That's episode 7. Done and dusted. You need to put some Magnificent 7 music in here.
Okay, I'll try. Do you think we'll get copyrighted?
Nah.
If you enjoyed this podcast, give us a follow on Spotify. We're also on YouTube, SoundCloud.
All the usual places.
Yeah, all the usual places. And give us a follow on Instagram. We are What Is It Now, Karen.
And you can, if you've got theme tunes that you want to send in, or anything else Karen related, if you've seen a tweet, if you've been a Karen, if you know someone that's a Karen, you can submit it to whatisitnowkaren@gmail.com.
Yep, even if you just want to say hi, you can email us, DM us.
And we'll try to get back to you within 3 to 5 working days.
Yeah. Okay then, so we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week. Right. Cheerio. I'm away for a wee puff pastry parcel.
I'll enjoy. Bye-bye.
Cheerio. Oh God, we're doing a podcast.